Welcome to Green Signals, live from the greatest gathering here at Derby, Litchurch Lane, Alstom's UK manufacturing site. And it's a big hello from me, Richard Bowker,
and from me, Nigel Harris. And we're having the proverbial ball, aren't we, Richard?
We are having an absolute ball. It's great, and the weather's fantastic as well. It's not rained at all today, so we are absolutely thrilled to bits.
And one of the really good things, and I did expect this, is been just catching up with all sorts of old friends, some of I haven't seen for 20 years. And isn't that the great thing about the railway? Some people you don't see for 20 and you just drop straight back into it.
Couldn't agree more.
I love it. So thank you one and all, and look forward to seeing more people.
Couple of bits of sort of parish notices before we start. We're big shout out and thanks to DB Cargo, who have given us use of their Starlink satellite system. So we're using that to stream to YouTube. It's been brilliant. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Russell. You fantastic job. What we are discovering is, though, we're definitely testing it to the max. And occasionally with YouTube, there's a little bit of buffering on the film, so don't adjust your sets, just carry on. It catches up very, very fast, and you won't spoil your enjoyment. So just bear with it if it occasionally does a bit of buffering.
And it catch Richard doing this on a frozen frame.
Can you do that again?
Please.
Oh, there you go, right.
Please take a screenshot.
Thank you. We do have the occasional PA announcements on the site. They're very short. We know exactly when they're going to be. So we might pause briefly whilst we do one of those, but then we'll be able to crack on again.
We will.
Every great organisation like this, every great event, and this is arguably the greatest event, requires somebody or a group of people to have an idea and to organise it. And so we are absolutely delighted to be joined by James Dobson and Gus Dunster, who are the organising and visionary brains behind this. Is that fair, guys?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah. So,
how did it start? Who had the idea, and where did you have the idea?
So it was me. So I did, it's my fault, all my fault. I did the 2019 Open Day at LSL, Crew All Change. We did that, and it was just really rewarding just to see how much people enjoyed that event, and also because we raised a significant sum of money for charity. So ever since then I've always had like the appetite to do something again, and the Railway 200 year was fast approaching. I just thought we absolutely have to do something to mark that, and sort of take the Crew All Change concept and just magnify it as much as possible to really leave a legacy for Railway 200.
And Richard's question as to where you had the idea?
In the pub.
Ah, there we go.
All the best ideas
absolutely, absolutely,
yeah.
And Gus, how did you get roped in then?
Well, because James and I worked together in Virgin Trains, and it was in that era we did the Crew Will Change, and James really was the inspiration behind that event, and I was the exec sponsor for it. James came and presented to the VT exec on this vision for Crew Will Change, and we were blown away by his presentation, and we said yes, we've got to do it. And out of that, I became the exec sponsor for that event, and James and I kept in touch, following that time, professionally and personally, and we'd been looking really for another opportunity, and so we were at I think it was a retirement do about 18 months ago, where James says to me, "Come on, we've got to do something for Railway 200. What do you think?" And in that evening, we even got to think, well, what would be a suitable venue? And of course, we quite quickly ruled out live train maintenance depots or yards or facilities because they're just too busy.
Because they're live.
And I hit upon the idea. Well, Litchurch Lane, sadly, was in the news for the wrong things about 18 months ago, as you know, with declining orders but that in my mind played into well, actually logistically it might just work because this is such a vast site. At the end of the evening, I don't know quite how I went away with this, but I got the first action, which was, Gus, could you speak to the guys at Alstom? And of course I had a relationship with a lot of people at Alstom through the Pendolino maintenance contract at Avanti and previously Virgin, so I picked the phone up to Pete Broadley at Alstom the following day and said, "Pete, we've had this really great idea. What do you think? I think there's something in this for you, Alstom, and there's something in it for the railway industry, and there's something in it for James and myself." And he said, "You know what, Gus, I think you're onto something. Leave it with me for a few weeks to go through some internal discussions." And by, I think it was back July last year, James, wasn't it? We knew that it was going to go ahead. We waited for the Paris organisation, Alstom, to approve it. That took to the end of August with the French holidays, and then we did the first press release in September, I think it was. And from that point on, Richard, it's been all go.
But it's absolutely extraordinary. I mean, September to now, and the scale of this is quite mind blowing. I guess you'd be the first to say, this ends up being a massive team that has to get involved. I mean, every bit of the railway seems to be represented here, but how many organisations has it taken, with your cajoling, I suspect, to pull off something like this?
Well, just about every organisation in the rail industry, to be honest. We approached every single train operator, freight operator, infrastructure related organisations, and we just wanted absolutely everybody here to make this event as diverse as it could be. And we wanted as much representation for steam, for diesel, for electrics, but to go one step further as well and really showcase how innovative the rail industry is and what we've got to look forward to in the future, and how we can also encourage young people to choose this wonderful career that is the railway.
It's funny you say that. I just had a chance to chat with Pete Waterman down at where the model railway area is, which is, again, I mean, you could spend all day in there.
Just
it's
in
phenomenal.
That exhibition, yeah.
And he made the point that he's so thrilled to see so many young people here. I mean, kids, but obviously teenage, of all ages. I mean, that must be the hope, isn't it? That this inspires, whatever it does inspires people to be that next generation.
Absolutely. It's not just about filling a yard full of trains. It really is about getting young people into rail and inspiring them to be the next generation, and maybe one day they may have a vision similar to what we've had and pull something off like this.
And even beyond that, just to get greater understanding about the railway amongst the population, which is normally drip-fed by the Daily Mail, about how awful it all is. To see so much success and innovation and engineering expertise and enthusiasm.
They sold out very quickly.
Within about 2 days.
Exactly right, Nigel, yeah. And then we quickly realised that there was a lot of pent-up demand still. So in today's world, quite rightly, there was a number of safety validation hoops to go through, quite understandably, and we were able to push that up to 12,500 a day, paid visitors. And of course there are more people on site when you include exhibitors and staff and. So I think there's probably about 14,500 people on the site today, right now, as we speak. Now, in hindsight, of course, knowing what we now know, I think it's a reasonable challenge. We might possibly could have been a bit more ambitious, but I think you've got to think about the wider infrastructure around here as well. The site itself is vast, 90 acres, and could easily have accommodated more. But you've got to think about the train operators, local roads, buses, and.
Yeah, queues.
So we were talking about this morning and thinking, wouldn't it be great if we'd have done 15,000? And it would have been great to have 15,000 smiling faces here. Of course it would. But I'm not sure whether the rest of the infrastructure to feed that would have worked.
And this is the first event I can remember where quite a lot of people have talked to me quite crestfallen. I left it too late to get a ticket.
Yeah.
So you've certainly produced a fantastic event. So well done. All those late nights weren't worth it, even if maybe there were times when you thought it wasn't.
Some.
Yeah, there were. Yeah.
You're doing it for charity.
We are.
And I think there's 5 charities, aren't there? What do you reckon? Have you got any sense at the moment as to what those charities are going to be able to benefit from financially from the greatest gathering? Any rough idea?
Well, we want to get well into 6 figures on that, Richard. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So this event has been on a scale which is, I'm blown away by this. I feel like I'm in a dream now, to be honest with you.
Are we a nightmare then?
No, absolutely not.
Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that, Nigel. No.
Just you personally.
No.
Quite likely.
I would quite honestly say that even when we finished here on Friday morning, we didn't really know what to expect, but I do just feel like it's a bit of a dream, to be honest with you. But there we are, and I think we should be able to get into significant sums for these organisations.
I have to ask each of you, and I want a quick answer to this. Best and worst moments?
Oh, blimey, okay. Well, I think best was as it all started to come together, and we sent the initial email out to all the operators, passenger freight infrastructure, as I mentioned, and we just had a flurry of positive responses, and it was, I think, at that point where it really focused my mind for sure that we're onto a winner here, and we're going to pull something off significant.
And the worst moment? Now be honest.
This week has been tough, putting all the exhibits into place.
Yeah.
It has been really fun, so it's a bit of a an odd one to say it's a worst moment, because it's not, but it has been quite stressful getting everything in here. We've done all the shunting ourselves personally, had all the late nights and get everything into place. So on
that subject, we were here on Wednesday. Yeah. And we detected a certain amount of tension around the Lorem rail grinder, which we were told had turned up with a type of with a type of. But we're going to have to fasten ropes to it at one stage and haul it about.
But no, well, it's very true.
That's true,
it's very true. But thankfully, our friends at Rail Operations Group came to save the day in the 11th hour. So we're very grateful for.
Fantastic. Well, there you go. That's the railway.
What about you, Gus? Best and worst, briefly.
Well, I think the best for me, Nigel, came yesterday morning. I was here quite early to do another interview, and so I was here when the site opened, and it was very quickly apparent to me that.
Just a success.
Well, the scale of it, first of all, but when the people arrived and the demeanour of everybody, the positivity and the smiling faces.
And the worst?
The worst, I think I would agree with James actually. I love doing the practical bits of railway operations. I'm still competent to do a lot of that. But even my keenness to do that type of work was tested to the limit.
It waned just a little.
Yeah, it did, and it's been a pleasure working with James on the ground, doing a lot of this stuff as well together, not just the theoretical stuff. But I think both of us would say the novelty had worn off by Thursday morning.
And a word of congratulations to everybody involved with the shunters. We went after the opening on
Thursday night.
I've been shunting all night to produce this display.
I was here till 3 a.m.
Oh, James.
Well done. And
unbelievable.
Thank you. And on behalf of thousands of people taking pictures, I'll never forget. Likewise, that a lineup of diesels down that end. With a Clayton at one end and.
The Eurostar at the other end.
Yes.
Gus, we've got you here. Got to ask you this, because I still find this almost impossible to process. So your day job is you're also managing director of the Severn Valley Railway.
Yes.
And right in the middle of planning all of this and organising this, you had a fairly spectacular embankment failure, and 6 months later you've got the railway open again whilst doing all this as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we just got to say chapeau. What an amazing achievement.
I couldn't believe it, frankly.
6
months.
Sometimes you just have to deal with what life puts in front of you, Richard, don't you? And with the embankment failure, it was a bit of a no whoops moment, but we very quickly sort of got our head around that. Well, we've just got to deal with it, and deal with it we have. And again, a bit like this event, really. You've got to have a really good address book in the railway, I think, if you want things to work. I am a passionate believer that heritage railways are part of the national system.
They are.
We have got a very strong relationship with Network Rail and a lot of the wider industry partners. And so we got stuck into, talking to them as much as we could and seeing what could reasonably be done. And the general consensus was that it might be possible to get this done within 6 months. And we did get it done within 6 months. And we reopened the line last week with nothing other than Flying Scotsman. So
fantastic.
I think sometimes you've got to, like this event again, it's very much, if you've got the drive,
you can make it
happen.
Yeah.
And I, in a leadership role, if you show any lack of confidence, then that permeates through the organisation. And there was no way that I was going to show any lack of confidence because, the Severn Valley Railway is part of me. All my adult life has been spent on that railway. I've had a wonderful career in the mainline railway, but the SVO is part of my life. So there was no way at its most point of need was I going to step away from that.
But well done.
Well,
that was a hell of an achievement.
An amazing achievement. So congratulations. And listen, congratulations for this. It is literally, I don't think I'd ever see the like of this, and it has happened, and it is amazing. So, Gus and James, I mean, beware going for a beer with you actually, because you end up with an amazing idea and a list of jobs. So that sounds fantastic.
Just before they go, Richard, we talked to Patrick McLaughlin, Lord McLaughlin. The other night, and he said this is just such a fantastic idea. He said we ought to do it every 5 years. Well, that would take us round to the Liverpool and Manchester anniversary, wouldn't it? And I'd just leave that hanging in the air, James.
We'll bring Longsight next week.
Longsight next week. That's
never
fantastic.
Say never, Nigel. That's what I'd say.
That's why I just left it hanging in the air. Well, but look, thanks ever so much.
Thank you very much.
And from 45,000 people, thank you so much for what you've done.
Very welcome.
It's just superb. We did have the opening on Thursday night, and there were a number of VIPs there to sort of celebrate the opening of the Greatest Gathering. And actually Nigel managed to grab a few of them and do a few interviews and just hear what some of them had to say. So here's what Nigel managed to get a few people to comment on the Greatest Gathering.
Lord McLaughlin, one of our longest serving transport secretaries in the, I'm going to say dim and distant past. It's not that long ago though, was it?
Well, it's 9 years ago since I left, so yeah, it is moving along, but some things have changed and some things have stayed the same.
And some things have got worse maybe, but we'll not get into that. What about this show? What do you think of this?
I just think it's great, and I think the enthusiasm, I mean, I live in Derby, and the word around the place is people just can't get the tickets. And I know they're coming from all over the country. So I think it's been a fantastic idea. It's something that needs to be thought about for future. Every 5 years or something like that, I think would be a brilliant recognition of the industry. It just shows the passion and the love for the industry right across the country.
Well, indeed, people are saying, what's your favourite exhibit? For me, it's just the fact this is happening and celebrating railways at a time when it's a bit of a
force for the country. And actually the problem is, you know, how do we build on it? You know, the whole question of capacity has still got to be thought about, and that's going to be a challenge for the government.
Rob, tell us quickly who you are and why you're here.
So my name is Rob White and I'm the MD of Alstom for the UK and Ireland. And I'm here because we're hosting the greatest gathering, 200 years of railways in the UK.
Well, a big thank you for that. It's a huge event. I've got some experience of organising events, and well done you for grasping the nettle on this one and producing such a fantastic show. It's obvious it's attracted a lot of attention.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we're not an events company. This is a factory where we build trains, but we felt that we needed to really cement our position here in the railways in the UK. And what better way than doing it for something like this? If you can't do it for 200 years, when you can trace your history back to locomotion number one, I mean, who else could actually put on an event like this if it wasn't us? So a great opportunity for us to remind people how important railways are, have been, will be. And we just want people to be inspired, feel engaged, and really let's get railways back on the map.
Well, I'm standing here with my, I was going to say very old, but long-standing friend,
That's not a good start.
Catherine Lancaster. I've been coming here with ABB, with Adtrans and Bombardier and Alstom, and the one constant in all my visits here has been you. So what does this mean to you? Because I know you've had a big part in it as well.
Oh, I've been here 36 years. You didn't mention Brell 1988.
Well, I said I've been coming here. I never came here with Brell.
Okay. This is just the pinnacle of my entire 36 years career. The whole event is just got to be here. It's the biggest thing we've ever had. It's the pride and joy of me saying, finally we can get the gates open. We can show everybody what we've been doing here, how we do it, the people that do it. And it gets me here, as you know.
I do. And that's the important thing, it's the people, isn't it? The railway, talk about locomotives and infrastructure and else, but more than anything else, it's the people that make it work.
If I did away with salesmen, sales teams, I could take you on a factory tour and I could not try and sell you the process, the product. I would just introduce you to anybody building that train, any part of it, and hand you over, and they would be as proud as punch to explain what they do, how they do it, how long they've been doing it, why they do it like that, and that they're a part of this big picture.
Because it's not what they do, it's what they are, isn't it?
Yes, it's all about attitude, DNA. They are proud as punch of what they do.
What do you think of all this?
I think it's wonderful. I think the industry celebrating 200 years is something that everybody should be proud of. And you know, you see the site around here today and all the heritages that's with it. And it'll be a great thing for people to come and look at this and see it. And it doesn't come together easily, as we all know, over this industry trying to pull things together. And this is a major event to celebrate that, and staff should be extremely proud. And anybody who comes and sees it and sees the heritage should be extremely proud, particularly the part that they play in it.
I'm standing here with Baggy Shanker, who's the MP for this part of Derby. Great to see you here. What does this mean to you?
It's absolutely fantastic. Look, 40,000 people visiting Derby in the next 3 days is brilliant. But it's a great celebration of the heritage of rail in Derby, and also a look forward at the really bright, innovative future that our designers, our engineers will offer the rail industry. So look forward to the next 200 years, as well as reflecting back on the last 200 years.
It really is a great celebration of all that, but it's really important to get the next generation of railway men and women in, isn't it?
Absolutely, and we need to create that inspiration for our young people at school, at college, in universities to take that plunge and come into the rail sector as a really exciting, viable and good career. And I'm sure with what we see on offer here over these next few days, lots of young people are going to be inspired.
So are you going to be here over the weekend at all for a look round, or?
I am, so today's official stuff, but I'm back here tomorrow with my family and we'll be enjoying the exhibits. 140, I believe. It's fantastic.
It's a big site. Wear comfy shoes.
Absolutely, yes, I will do.
Thanks, Maggie.
Right.
Talk to each other.
Well, welcome back to Green Signals live at the Greatest Gathering. Hope you enjoyed hearing what some of those luminaries had to say about this fantastic event. We're delighted to be joined by two guests. Nigel, you know very well. I'm going to let you do the honours here.
Okay. Tom, I've been thrown in at the deep end there, but yes, indeed. On my right here, I have Tom Ingle.
Good afternoon.
And I've known Tom since the early part of the 12th century.
Really?
Tom had dark hair then when we first met.
How dare you?
And we've got Malcolm Home. Tom, what's your proper...
So I'm the shareholders champion at the Great Central Railway, but my main work I do is, most people know about the reunification project. I'm there to wave the flag for
the Great Central
project and the Great Central.
And we have Malcolm Holmes over here, who is the general manager.
Good afternoon,
Great
Nigel.
Central Railway,
yes,
former big railway, man of huge experience. And when I first met Malcolm, he was on station staff at Quorn. Very dapper in a bowler hat and an immaculate uniform.
A bowler hat? Oh, very nice.
He did, and he suited. Not many people can rock a bowler hat, but Malcolm could. Now, they've both been involved for a very long time, and I declare interest immediately. I was involved with the Great Central for a very long time. As a fireman for 4 years, then a driver for 15. I was on the main board. And it's the biggest project I think in Heritage Railways.
I think so.
Is that the plan we knew it as bridging the gap. It's now known as reunification, and that's to...
Your word. We call it reunification because you said let's call it reunification.
Did I?
Yes,
I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, well, there you are.
I shall now take credit for it.
I'm giving you credit for it, on a plate.
It was all my idea in the first place.
Yes.
And that's to reconnect or reunify the two halves, and they are roughly half, of the Great Central Railway. The very well-known southern bit, which is the main line bit from Loughborough to Rothley and then single track on to Leicester North, and the northern section, which runs from the Midland Main Line at Loughborough all the way to Ruddington via Rushcliffe Halt. And it will be the biggest heritage railway in the country in terms of activity, if not quite in distance. But it was always dubbed as Project Impossible, that we would never, I'm back in Great Central, be able to build a bridge over the Midland Main Line. That was achieved in 2017, and I helped that project along.
Absolutely.
And,
it wouldn't be there without you.
That's very kind of you to say. But now it's gained momentum again this last few years. And Tom and Malcolm are going to tell us a little bit about how that's coming very much closer. And it will change things radically, won't it, once you get the mainline connection.
Shall I talk about what's happening, and then Malcolm, you can talk about why we're doing it? Is that okay?
We should just shut up.
If you want
This is fantastic. At least you can come on again.
You can tell Tom's a broadcaster.
I won't get a word in.
Sorry. So what we've done with this extraordinary project, as you say, 8 miles of mainline railway in the south, 9 miles of mainline railway in the north, but irritatingly, and certainly like red rag to a bull for preservationists, 500 metres of missing railway right in the middle, which is... They couldn't have taken away a more complicated 500 metres. There's bridges, there's embankments, there's a canal crossing.
Why could it not just be a single track?
If it was single track across an open field, it would have been done a long time ago. So we have done 3 parts of this very complicated jigsaw. We've put a bridge over the Midland Main Line, no small ask at all. We've refurbished an existing Great Central Bridge over a canal to double track standards. And we've refurbished, or replaced rather, a bridge over a main A road. So that is 3 parts of this impossibly large project. The great news is there's now £2.5 million banked to press on.
Wonderful.
And even better news, we have planning consent to go. So all that's holding us back now is the money. And the people here at the Greatest Gathering have responded so generously to that message. I look forward to counting in the big event later
How much money then? What's the money gap?
From here, we're going to need the low tens of millions. And I don't want, the reason I'm being circumspect is for two reasons. First of all, as soon as I tell you a number, like any good journalist, you will hold me to that number for the rest of my life and beat me viciously with that stick.
Marginally longer than that,
yeah,
probably.
yes, yeah. But secondly, also, we have some ground investigation work happening right now.
Right.
So until you know exactly what's under the ground, you don't know where the foundations are going to be, how big, how small, how many, and that will alter the price in the end. So when I come out with a figure, I want it to be as close as it can be to jazz. You know, I want it to be the best number.
So it is a big undertaking.
But it's underway, and that's the key thing. People have said you'll never do it, and actually, do you know what? It is underway.
And in fact, in terms of physicality, it's probably about half done, isn't it?
Yeah, distance-wise, it's not. But yeah, so there's one big remaining structure.
The
but
viaduct,
we now have the plan and, crucially, planning consent. Chalmers broke out and said, yeah, OK, we like that, off you go.
So you can go into Bob Geldof mode now and say, send us
send us the money, yes. I mean, I won't quite do the Bob, I won't do the full Bob, but yes, it is. That's what I've been doing today at the Greatest Gathering.
And you do it very well, Tom.
And, well, people have responded very well. It's a sexy message to sell. So and Malcolm will now say, why are we doing it?
And Tom's almost had me partying with my cash today. He's so good at it.
He could sell fridges to us.
He could. I've been saying the same thing today. So why are we doing this? Well, reunification's been a really long-term ambition for the railway. In the 30 years I've been involved, we've been talking about it all of that time. And it was the dream, it was of the people who saved the Great Central Railway back in the late 1960s, early 70s. It was their dream to create, to retain this 18 miles of mainline railway.
Can I just pause you, Fred? We are having a little audio moment, I think. Is that a fair thing to say? A little bit.
Audio moment.
I tell you what we'll do. Sorry, this is the joy of doing
live
things. I
broadcast.
know
Live
it's
broadcasting.
live broadcasting when you're actually just you're sort of doing this kind of thing for the
Are you
first
saying
time.
you can't hear Malcolm?
No, it's a little bit distorted. So what do you want us to do, Charlie? Should we try and
Stick
use
mic.
the stick mic perhaps? So what we're going to do, because people are going to say no, it's fine. You just, right, while we're doing
Can I
this,
give you a comment while he does that?
Please do.
I was actually on the GC board from 2005 to about 2009-10. And this will make you smile for reasons which will become apparent. I remember saying at a board meeting, because I always thought this was a ludicrous idea, too expensive, it would never get done. And Tom was at the board meeting. I said, look, if we're going to do this, we have to do it now because they're going to electrify the Midland Main Line. I said it to make you smile.
Okay.
I said, and if we let them put wires up, I promise you, we will never get permission to put a bridge over the top of it. So if we're going to do it, we're going to do it now. Whereupon the then managing director said, well, you can chair the company to lead the project then. But that electrification thing was the spur to actually get us going. And now we go to Wigston.
Even better, the original Great Central Bridge was only taken away in the 1980s because of pending electrification of the Midland Main Line, which of course stopped at Bedford, and then it was the reinstatement of the project which got us to put the bridge in, and then the project has been put on and off and on and off. And we're ready. we're ready. We're just waiting for the wire.
But I do remember that. You'll never do it if we let them electrify.
Ironically, we'll be running steam trains over that bridge before
Just hang on one sec. I think, are we ready now to swap the mic over? Right, I'll tell you what we're going to do.
Yes.
Right, this is because we want to hear what Malcolm's got to say. Charlie, if you've just passed me the stick. Right. Okay, fantastic. Excuse us, there's nothing like doing things on the fly.
Yeah, I'm enjoying
making it real and rocking the proper vibe. Right, the only downside is you'll only be able to talk one at once. There we go. So hang on one sec. No, you're okay, hang on.
Can I keep talking while you do that then? You can. One of the big champions when I was involved who really pushed us along, and he's still there, and we interviewed him the other day, is Peter Soulsby. Peter has been a complete advocate for this project.
He has. No, anyway, so if you could use that and hold that up as you speak, we will be absolutely fine.
Have you got me on
You're
that?
looking ridiculous. But
How far had I got? I was talking about why, wasn't I? I was talking about why. So long-held ambition to build this double-track mainline railway, but of course it's more. It's got to be more than that. And this is about the economic benefits, the jobs it's going to create in terms of construction, and then after it's complete, and crucially about bringing visitors to Leicestershire and Nottinghamshire. It's about building tourism across the region, a region that isn't really renowned for its visitor economy.
In hand and halt, the timetable is in action. Don't miss it.
And nobody gets up in the morning and says, let's have a day out in Loughborough, do they?
No, and they certainly don't go for a week. We don't run trains through Snowdonia, and nor do we take people to the seaside. So we've got to work ever harder to get visitors. So you recently did, a couple of months ago, Richard, a brilliant interview with Steve Oates, and he talked about the sustainability challenges, the economic challenges of running a heritage railway in the 2020s. And that's very real. And when you start to think about what you do with an 18-mile railway, when you're increasing the financial liability and the costs that go with running a railway, you have to think differently about how you're going to get visitors in. Big focus, as Tom's been talking about, on filling the gap, on building the infrastructure. My particular focus is on making the business case work and ensure that we've got a proposition that's going to get people to come in and enjoy that railway and contribute to the visitor economy in the East Midlands. So are people going to come for an 18-mile trip at 25 mile an hour through Nottingham and Leicestershire? Probably not in the numbers that we need to sustain it. So we are thinking in terms of becoming a living transport experience, whereby, think of a linear museum. You are transported from place to place to different experiences, and you come back time and time again to experience it more and more. It's Beamish, but on an 18-mile scale.
And presumably the intention is still there that once the GC South gets its access to a mainline connection, it opens the door to mainline rail tours, engineering, testing, trials, and a whole range of things.
Absolutely it does. Charter trains coming to the Great Central, that will be fantastic. More testing, more training opportunities, as well as gala guests. We'll be able to get some fantastic guests in for galas.
We had Tim Shoveler this morning, and Tim was, I think, managing director of MML, wasn't he, a few years ago? And Tim, at that time we started this, said he wanted to run an evening quality diner train from St Pancras up and down the GC and back to London.
We can do that, or we will be able to do it once we've completed reunification.
No.
So I've got one question about the economics then. So you just referred back to that Steve Oates conversation. And I asked him a question. I said, is there an optimum sort of length of railway at which you're balancing that point of you're giving people enough of a ride that it doesn't feel like you've just done 100 yards down a head shunt and back. So it feels like you've gone somewhere and done something, but doesn't go so far that the cost of the incremental cost really isn't met by the benefits. And, you know, he didn't sort of put a distance on it, but we were sat at the Isle of Wight and he said, well, you know, that's sort of whatever it is, 6-7 miles. He said that kind of feels about right because, you know, people don't necessarily want to go for an hour's long ride. They just want a certain ride. And I always wonder with something like your reunification project, I mean, what you've got today is brilliant. Does it really make sense to double it? Are you going to double the benefit? I'm not suggesting you won't, but that's just the thing that's in my head.
So I don't think there is, you can't put your finger on what an optimum length for a heritage railway is. It very much depends on what that railway is and what the proposition is.
Right.
Now this is a project that people have given their life savings for. There's been collections at funerals for this project.
Wow.
Huge emotional connection
Very much
to the project. You know, we can't turn back on this, and we firmly believe that there's a visitor proposition that we're developing that will make sure we get people in. Now, will we be expecting people to come for an 18-mile, 36-mile round-trip journey at 25 mile an hour? Some people will do that, but that's not going to be the visitor proposition.
They do on the Welsh Highland, of course.
They do on the Welsh Highlands. They do, of course, go through Snowdonia and have the scenery that we don't. But ours will be a very different proposition and will encourage people to come in different ways. So I think the answer to the Steve Oates question is, you know, sitting on the fence here, it depends. It very much depends on the railway, the location and the markets you're serving.
And can I...
Hang on. Oh, there you go. Look at that. Wow.
This one. Even Nigel has surrendered his mic. To stop thinking about it as purely a visitor proposition as well. What we're talking about are two mainline standard pieces of railway right in the heart of the country that will have a mainline connection. And as together, they are a stronger proposition to anyone who wants to come and use them, like a rail tester or a movie maker, because you're not just offering them one set of conditions, you're offering them two in one package. You're offering testing experiences, training experiences for people like EMR, who recently came and trained drivers and conductors on basic techniques on our railway.
Right.
So you're offering much more than just a visitor experience. And that, to me, is the business case for
At
it.
2:30 in the entertainment zone, be sure to meet Zeus. Europe's largest walking T-Rex.
Is that Fiona Bruce?
I'm pretty certain it is, actually, yeah.
Okay.
And the mellifluous tones we are treated to on a fairly regular basis. It's marvellous.
I might want to go and meet Zeus, actually, now.
Well, look,
I hope yes, thank you very much indeed for allowing us to plug it. Can I just plug the channel, the GCR official YouTube channel? I've just done it there.
You've just done it.
That's where the project news is. Thank you.
Beautifully done. Well, listen, Tom, Malcolm, thank you so much. Nigel talks about it quite a lot, so I kind of feel as if I'm sort of following the journey with you. We wish you well. It's not going to be easy, but these things never are they? So listen, all the very best, and thanks for coming on and sharing the story. Good luck with the next.
Thank you.
We wish you well.
Thanks on Green Signals.
And I'm hoping to get my invite on the first train.
You'll be there.
I think, given that we let Tom plug the GCR channel, that was the very least you could get in there, couldn't it?
Just one last thing about On Vision. When I was chairing that project, I had a dinner with the people from Nottingham Trams one night, and the idea emerged, because Ruddington is 1,200 metres from Net 2, that it wouldn't be impossible to connect Net 2 to the GC and run hybrid trams to Leicester. I'll leave you with that thought.
There you go. You heard it here first. Right. One of the things that we do on the channel is we do have a membership scheme which enables us to offer you goodies and extra stuff and so on and so forth. So during the course of the Greatest Gathering, we are doing a special offer, and that means you get 50% off your first month's membership if you sign up during the Greatest Gathering. There's a code which you can see on the screen at the moment, and if you do that, then you will get 50% off the first month. Have a look at the website, and you'll find out some more details about that. So make sure you do that if you can. And there's loads of stuff we do for members, so and we will be doing even more in the future.
We will, to look after our existing members as well.
We do. I mean, one of the things that has been a slight challenge the last few weeks. We've had so much trying to get ready for the Greatest Gathering. Some of the content's been building up. I have got an editing pile the size of, I don't know, Mount Everest when I get back.
Because with Green Signal's concerned, with me, you and Stef, what you see is what you get. That's it.
That is it, actually. Although, I have to say, this has only been possible because Charlie has been helping us out on the tech desk for this. So big shout out for Charlie. Right, well, hopefully very soon we've got one final guest.
And he's there.
But I'm delighted to say the sun has come beaming out again. It's absolutely marvellous. Oh, and here he is. So we welcome to Green Signals, Richard.
Yeah, come and have a seat, Richard.
Wherever you would like to go. Now we've had a bit of fun with our audio. So when you're speaking, as long as you keep that phone in your mouth, you'll be fine.
Sadly, we can't stop you looking ridiculous with that. But there you go.
It's not as ridiculous as Terry Wogan.
No, it doesn't. No, that's true. Actually, no. At least it works. Well, listen, Richard Corser, welcome to Green Signals.
Thank you.
You have, for anybody really interested in the heritage movement, boy, do you have an interesting job. Tell us what you do.
Yeah, so I've been working for DB Cargo for nearly 10 years now, running their special trains portfolio, amongst other things. And that's been very active recently. This weekend we've been moving steam locos. We've just brought the British Pullman in from London. And that falls under my portfolio, the Belmont contract for the British Pullman, as well as, of course, the Royal Train, which I know has been in the news as well for different reasons, but that's been very much part of what I've done. And this goes together with other parts of our business, particularly resource hires for Transport for Wales with Class 67s, and some of the automotive traffic that we also run falls under my care.
I've got to ask this. I mean, Nigel, you will know this stuff, I know, but I don't. To be able to run a steam locomotive on the main line, something like Flying Scotsman, which I know was on the Belmont train.
100 years old.
100 years old. What's involved in that? And is it a level or two more complex than just running, say, a Class 67?
We see that grey hair.
What does it take to run Flying Scotsman on the main line?
It takes a lot of attention to detail.
Right.
From our side, and I say the our side being DB Cargo side,
It needs very much, in my view, a stakeholder approach, particularly with Network Rail, with the locomotive owner and now the custodian, which is a new custodian. So they've had to go on a fairly steep learning curve from having taken over this contract.
Right.
And we've given them encouragement, but they have risen to that challenge. And the challenge is a fairly formidable one, because it's taking the maintenance of a steam locomotive to another level that can be that you can then warrant that locomotive to run on the main line, that we check. So there is a whole suite of compliance that goes with any running steam locomotive on the main line, and that mainly these days, of course, is very much a paperwork
mountain of bureaucracy.
Mountain of bureaucracy, getting various permissions, getting route acceptance on Network Rail, satisfying our engineering that the level of maintenance, the competence of the people who maintain the locomotive is up to standard.
And indeed the materials used.
Absolutely. So and making sure that the suppliers that are used are reputable ones, and you have a sort of a demonstrable audit trail. Like for any mainline train that goes out on the network, steam locomotives have to try and meet that same standard. Yes, there are derogations for certain aspect of a steam locomotive not meeting precisely modern standards, but by and large the level of maintenance has to be high.
Yeah.
Well, they are lethal machines if
we
they
are,
are.
And we're taking, as an operator, DB hires in that locomotive and provides it for Belmont in this case as part of their operation, and not only are we warranting this locomotive for safe travel and to Network Rail, we're also warranting it to the customer, who's paid sometimes an awful lot of money to travel behind that loco. So it's got to be a good standard, it's got to be fit, it's got to perform. Steam has been under some scrutiny recently on the network to cause disruption, particularly with fire risk, which is something we're very, very aware of, and we do an awful lot of work to try and keep those standards high.
Just talk to us a bit about the actual railway. I got into railway journalism in the 1980s, which was a real high watermark of mainline steam. It seemed to be running everywhere, but there was a lot of traditional infrastructure around. If you'd told me in 1985 that we would still be running steam in 2020, I literally wouldn't have believed it. What about that dovetailing, that equipment on the modern railway with all the electronic signalling? It's such a different railway now.
It is.
You must have real problems ensuring that these, like say, Flying Scotsman, 100 years old, can dovetail with the modern railway.
Absolutely, and I think it since 1985, it has become harder in some aspects, capacity being one. We've seen a big growth in capacity over the network, which has made paths harder to come by. And if you probably remember back then it was a 60 mile an hour limit for steam locos. That was raised to 75 for certain locos, which is pretty critical. If that was to be reversed, I think we'd really struggle in finding paths. So that's one thing to bear in mind. And over that period, the other challenge, I suppose, for us is the people, the personnel that make it happen. In 1985, as you say, we had an awful lot of ex-British Rail enginemen who had come through the age of steam as firemen,
who had not yet retired.
Exactly. So on the train we just brought in, we have a traction inspector who is our senior steam inspector now. He started as a fireman at Nine Elms, but he really is the last knockings of anybody who knew mainline steam. So the people you see driving steam locos now pretty much are all trained within the modern era, coming from preserved lines, having a conversion course. And of course for DB we're running trains all the time, so we're doing diesel and electric trains, but it's that conversion to steam that is the difficult one and takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
And yet things happen now occasionally that we would never have dreamed possible back then, that you allowed Tornado to run at 100 miles an hour on the East Coast. I think Stevie Hansel's retired now, hasn't he? But
yes, he has,
I was lucky to be on that train. I couldn't believe it was happening.
No, it's well, it was something that before the job I got with DB, I was working for Southall, and we did those series of runs, the 3 special runs with Bitton in 2013, and we got that to 90 miles an hour, and that was with a locomotive that was of that age. Now we have to remember these steam locos are of an age that, you know, that the frames, the wheels and everything, that they are susceptible to fatigue, so we have to be mindful that, you know, metal can fail.
Absolutely.
Tornado is a more modern loco, so I suppose you've got a greater confidence that that metal specifications, that steam locos were made with not necessarily a top grade steel at the time when they were made, whereas Tornado, as I said, we just said about warranting the materials, that was all made with high spec materials, so it was an easier proposition to go for a one-off 100 mile an hour run, even though it was right on the limit of the locomotive. We wouldn't have gone much faster.
It was amazing. It was an amazing night, was that? But you come across as very measured and calm, Richard, which I'm sure you have to be, given some of the individuals and issues you have to deal with. Have you ever had to, I'm sure you have, really put your foot down and say no? And sort of, this is not possible. However much you might want to do it, however attractive it might seem, no.
Yes, we do have to say no. The railway's quite good at saying no to lots of things. I like to say yes wherever possible. But you do have to say no and temper people's expectations of what's actually possible. You know, today is an example.
Give us an example.
An example today. You know, we've had a train coming up from London to Derby for the greatest gathering. We could have said, oh, we'll steam haul it all the way from London to Derby. Now that becomes, it takes it from an exposure to mainline steam to something becoming much more involved, arduous, very heavy on crews.
On a main line.
Resources, expensive, etc. So we did the section from Kettering to today, and that was successful. So, and it came in just a few minutes behind schedule.
Leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
Leave them wanting more. Well,
exactly.
I'm afraid that is probably a good point to actually end the conversation. I'm afraid we're going to have to leave them wanting more because we've come to the end
of our show.
Of our
Richard,
time.
thank you for
Richard,
thank you very much.
I thought. Thank you very much indeed, Richard. We wish you well with mainline steam operations. I'm with Nigel. I still can't quite believe we're still doing it in 2025, but it is fantastic to see it still.
Yeah, we've just got to keep the standard high,
and that's the key, isn't it? Keep the standard high.
Keep those standards.
And does it send you home, you know, absolutely furious? Sometimes your wife's over there. I wonder if you ever go and say, "You never guess what's happened today."
Yeah. Oh yes, she hears it. She hears it all, warts and all.
Excellent.
Thank you for joining us on Green Signals.
Thank you. So that's all we've actually got time for today on this particular show. We are planning to do a live stream on Sunday morning, tomorrow morning at 10:45. I only say planning because there is the threat of some rain, and that will actually cause us some issues. So don't worry, if that does happen, we'll put a note up on the live stream that will explain that. But we're hoping to be able to do something. Don't worry though, we have got so much footage from our time here. We've got enough to fill videos for about the next 5 years.
And a massive director's cut.
Unbelievable stuff, so that'd be great. You will be able to find all the videos, whether they're live or not live, in the Greatest Gathering playlist on our site, so you can still enjoy it all there. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. And thank you once again for joining us on the live shows. We've had huge fun doing these and been really great. Morning at 10:45. Look out on the channel. If we can bring you a show, we will be doing. Until then, it's goodbye from me and
it's goodbye from me.
Thanks very much for watching.
Bye now.